But the person who's been blamed most for the economy crashing isn't Vladimir Putin for invading Ukraine and got that hike in the energy prices, isn't Xi Jinping for basically keeping quiet and over what was going on in his Wuhan lab with COVID and completely trashing the world economy and killing hundreds of millions of people. Yes, COVID was real around the world. No, Liz Truss, she's the person everyone says crashed the economy. She didn't, actually. I mean, I think they handled the economy badly, and I don't think she was very good as a Prime Minister in that way, but she didn't crash the economy. But the led by donkeys people are still after her in a big way. They've had this prank. But if you're watching on YouTube or on your connected device, you can see this footage. But she's at a book talk. She is a former Prime Minister, so she does actually have, round-the-clock security. She's been in this building, the security guys come in advance, check everything out. And yet somehow, incredibly, they were actually able, these led by donkeys people, to get into this theatre and to basically put up a sign which they then lowered behind her. They've done this to Nigel Farage before. And it's a picture of a lettuce. Remember the whole, is the lettuce going to last longer than her prime ministership? And say, I crashed the economy. She left, no sense of humour. She says this is a security risk, it's attempt at censorship. The biggest question I've got is, I don't understand why they're still going for her. She hasn't been Prime Minister since autumn 2022. It's now late summer 2024. Should they not be holding, if they're not, are they not supposed to be challenging power?
Oh no, they're just going for the easy targets, and that's why they're picking on her, because she attracts a degree of attention when everyone picks on her. We saw
it's
her
bullying now, isn't it?
Well, it is. But we saw in some of the statements coming out in the run-up to the general election that she was being named by the opposition as they were at the time, and she had to ask them to take that out of their formal documentation.
In the civil service. No, it was a civil service.
It was civil service. Yeah. So she is being bullied for this very short period of time that she was in power.
But interest rates would have gone up. They might not have gone up quite so sharply in that very short period.
Anyway.
They would have absolutely gone up everywhere anyway, because of other major economic reasons. Exactly. And again, and the huge cost to the economy of that massive bailout for people because of their energy prices. Labour were calling on her to do that and actually wanted her to go further. Yeah. So whoever was in charge then would have done that. I do think she's had a bad rap on that. I really, really do. Let's also talk about the rail deal. We spoke about that just before the top of the hour. Annoyingly, we lost the signal to Simon Calder, who's a transport correspondent. Doesn't just do cruises and lovely trips abroad. He knows about rail as well. But rail strikes, it looks like they will be called off, as Left's leader McMillan has recommended this pay deal. And it's 14 to 15%. It's just under 15% pay deal. It's over 3 years, but it's basically backdated. This is the final year, the year we're in now, that would be the pay deal. And it's around the 4-5% mark for each year. So they reckon they're going to accept that. The key thing is no strings attached. That's what the union is saying. So they're not requiring a change in working practices. So, for instance, in some railway companies, you're not even required to work on a weekend, even though, of course, look, if you're doing a job that is a 24/7, 365 day of the year, well, 363 day of the year maybe job, then I'm afraid you're going to have to work some Sundays. Is this a good deal for the taxpayer just to get these strikes over, or do you think we'll live to regret this?
I think we'll live to regret this. ASLEF is merely one union. Mick Lynch and the RMT, who are also going on strike and disrupting the railways as much, will now be sitting there going, hang on, we've got a bad deal. So what are we going to do next? And we'll see this as a ripple effect across all of the other unions going, well, if we do this and disrupt this, we are going to get a double-digit pay rise. Yeah. This is double digits this year because a lot of it's backdated.
Yeah, but the thing, they haven't had the other pay rises. They've been holding out for a higher pay rise. They were offering more. It's a lot less, a lot more. I think it was 8% that the Tory government had given. But we had the same thing with the junior doctors, haven't we? Where we've had Wes Streeting, in this case it's Louise Haigh, the Transport Secretary, but they've all been saying, if you just get round the table, you can do a deal and you can end these strikes. What they mean is if you just get round the table and offer a huge amount of money, then you can get a deal. And that's the key thing, isn't it? Because the cost of this stuff is going to be borne by the taxpayer ultimately. We bail out the railways. We subsidise railway travel by largely better off people, by the way, who can afford to have a nice home outside places like London and Manchester in the countryside. And then we all subsidise them having their nice home. We subsidise their travel in. I mean, I don't understand the economics of this at all. I can understand having nationalised railways. I really, really can, because I think and there's no competition. But at the end of the day, you and I are going to, whether I ever get a train ever, now you do get trains, I'm still going to have to pay for it, you're going to have to pay for it, and every audience member is going to have to pay for it. Is that fair?
No, and it's the elderly that are paying for it, losing their winter fuel allowance. Our defence is paying for it because there's just been a 20% cut put into the budgets for science, technology and innovation that are needed, and a 2.5% cut in what the MOD can spend today, and other government departments are paying for it. So to give all these pay rises to what has been union driven the whole way through is creating a bigger problem than that supposed.
And it only really works
deal.
with unions that can hold everyone else to ransom.
Yes.
And that's the key thing about public sector workers or train drivers.